Today we are looking at ISC2 certified in cybersecurity, and we're looking at domain two. We want you to follow along as I go through 8 questions under domain two and explain how the answers are arrived at, or basic simple explanations of the answers to the question. So we are taking ISO certified in cybersecurity, business continuity, disaster recovery, and incident response practice questions. So we are looking at 8 top questions in this domain, and this will help us to understand or to give you an idea of what you're going to meet in the exam. So the first question here which says, in the event of a disaster, which of these should be the primary objective? So, option one is A, guarantee the safety of the people. B, guarantee the continuity of critical systems. C is to protection of production database. D is application of disaster communication. So we're looking at which will be the primary objective. The question is the primary objective. So when you look at the options you have, you consider which one should be the primary objective, not just the objective, the primary objective. So the answer to this question is, in any disaster, it is the safety and well-being of the people that is the primary objective. So it is after the people are safe, then you now start thinking about maybe devices or systems, or other things. So why protecting system and data is important, human life takes precedence. So in any protection or in any disaster recovery or incidents that you are going to take handle, you know, the and ethical and organizational responsibility is to ensure personal safety before resuming operation. So you do everything to safeguard the people before resuming business operation. So that's the answer. Then the next question says, which of the following is a plan to keep business operations going while recovering from a significant disruption? So what we are looking at, what will keep business operation going even after an incident has happened, and then you are recovering. So, of all, the first option is incident response plan, we have business continuity plan, disaster recovery plan, and risk management plan. The correct answer is B, which is continuity plan. Now, what it's saying is business continuity means business continues, something that will ensure that business operation continues regardless of what is happening. So this is designed to sustain essential business functions during and after a disruption. So this activity or this plan is what will keep a business in operation when an incident happens, even while all other recovery processes are going on or while other things are going on. The essential functions of an organization will not be put to a stop. So it ensures critical operations continues even if in a reduced capacity until recovery is fully achieved. So these are strategies that alternate work locations, supply chain continuity, workforce management. So this is saying that, okay, for example, if an incident happened within the office in a site, you can set up a site, maybe called a hot site or a temporary location where business can be going on, where activities, things that are related to business can be going on, even though they don't have the full access to the original place of operation, but at least essential functions can be going on. Supply chain can be switched, to ensure business continues. So the third question you're looking at here is a set of instructions or procedures to detect, respond, and limit consequences of a cyber attack. So this is, remember, detecting, responding, and limiting the consequences of a cyber attack is known as one, the disaster recovery plan, B, business continuity plan, C, incident response plan, D, risk assessment plan. So you need to take a look at all these plans. What does the disaster recovery plan do? Recovery plan helps to recover from an incident. Business continuity plan ensures an incident, operation continues even while an incident is going on or is being recovered. Incident response plan is what you put in place before the incident happen so that to limit the consequences. The risk assessment is assessing basically what is done to identify risk. So the answer C, which is an incident response plan. So this provides a structured approach for identifying, managing, and mitigating cybersecurity incidents. And it includes phases. We have preparation, detection, analysis, containment, eradication, recovery, and post-incident review. So these are all things that you put in place to limit the effect or the consequences of an incident whenever it happens. So that is the correct answer. So let's look at the fourth question, which says backup patches and disaster recovery plans are all examples of which type of security control. So we have different types of security control, and they have different categories. So we're talking about backups, patches, disaster recovery plans. What kind of security control are they? Is it preventive, detective, corrective, or deterrent? So a preventive, we all know it's something that you do before the thing happens. Detective is one that helps to identify what has already happened. Corrective, applies corrective measures like to remedy what has happened, and deterring is to prevent. Also, is to discourage something from happening. So backup patches, disaster recovery plans. When do this happen? Definitely, it's called corrective because backups, patches, and disaster recovery plan. These are things that you make use of when an incident has happened. So, when an incident happens, you want to restore your files from backup. Patches, you want to make sure that maybe something that a leak or a vulnerability that is discovered is being repaired. That's what the patch is doing. Then disaster recovery, of course, it's when an incident has happened, a disaster already happened, that you make use of your recovery plan. So these are all corrective controls and they are implemented after an incident happens in order to restore systems and data. Backups allow data restoration, patches fixes vulnerabilities in exploited attacks, and disaster recovery plans procedures recover IT infrastructure. So these all aim to reduce the impact and return operations back to normal. So let's look at the fifth question. It says, which of these should be included in a disaster recovery plan? So we have an idea of what a disaster recovery plan is. So this item, which of them should be included? A, instructions on data ownership and destruction. B, a plan to prepare the organization for continuation of critical business functions. C, an instructions to detect, respond to, and limit the consequences of an attack. D, a plan to keep business operations going during a disruption. We've already talked about most of it. For example, we talk about what keeps our business operation going during a disruption is not a recovery plan. It will rather be a business continuity plan. Then we talk about detecting, responding. These are incident response plan. So what is supposed to be included in the disaster recovery, which is something that happened. Disaster recovery is implemented after an incident happens. So let's see. B is the correction. So a plan to prepare the organization for continuation of critical business. So what do you do? You know, when to maintain critical business functions. Of course, this will be part of a disaster recovery plan. Instructions on data ownership and destruction does not have any impact or does not have any relevance to disaster recovery. So the correct answer is B. A disaster recovery plan explains or focuses on restoring IT systems and services after a disruption, which means it includes procedures for systems recovery. It includes data restoration, failover processes, and technical recovery steps. Preparing for the continuation of critical business function is a key goal, distinguishing it from the broader business continuity plan. So this is basically talking about restoring IT system after a disruption. Now, if you have a plan, a procedure for system recovery, restoration, failover process, technical recovery step, these are preparation for the continuation of business or critical business function is a key thing that every disaster recovery plan should have. Then we have the next question we're going to is during which phase of incident response plans are incidents prioritized? During which phase of incident response are incidents prioritized? So when do you prioritize an incident? So is it when you are preparing or when you are trying to contain the incident or when you are detecting and analyzing or during the recovery? So the correct answer is C, detection and analysis. So because this is where it's the thing, it's something, a breach has already happened or an incident has already happened. So you need to detect it and be able to analyze what is going on. So incidents are prioritized during detection and analysis. Once an event is detected, analysts assess its severity, its scope, and potential impact to determine the response priority. So you are now looking at what incident determines or requires to be prioritized. That is one of the things detection and analysis. So this ensures that critical incidents receive immediate attention, optimizing resource allocation and response effectiveness. Then, seventh question here is which of the following is included in an SLA document? So, what is an SLA document? An SLA document is service level agreement, which specifies, what goes on, what minimum, how services are required, what kind of services should be delivered, and how the service should deliver. So, the first option is a plan to prepare the organization for continuation of critical business functions. B, a plan to keep business operations going while recovering from a significant disruption. C, instructions to detect, respond to, and limit the consequences of a cyber attack. And D, instructions on data ownership and destruction. So how do we really, let's see what the answer is D, which is instruction on data ownership and destruction. So this is a service level agreement document because it specifies or defines expectations between the service providers and clients. Data ownership and destruction will help you to know who is responsible for handling which data, who is responsible for retention, and how long should data be kept, when do you have the permission to destroy a data that is no longer in use. So these are data handling responsibilities. So while a business continuity and disaster recovery plans may be referenced in this situation, service level agreements primarily focus on the operational commitments, performance metrics, and data governance terms. Now, the final question in this series is which of the following best describes the goal of a business impact analysis? So, we're looking at what is the best, what best describes the goal of a business impact analysis. So, it's to identify potential threats to an organization or to determine the financial and operational impact of business disruptions. C is to implement security controls across the network. And D, to train employees on emergency procedures. So which of the following best, the keyword is best, describes the goal of business impact analysis? So we're looking at B as our answer because a business impact analysis will evaluate the potential effect of disruptions on business operations, which includes financial losses, operational downtime, and reputational damage. So it helps to prioritize recovery efforts by identifying critical functions and their recovery time objectives, this RTO and recovery point objectives. So BIA or business impact analysis will help you to determine recovery time objective, that is the time limits that you set for recovery to be achieved, and recovery point objectives and points or the recovery point objectives are the limits or points of recovery. That is how fast should a recovery be done. For example, you say you can recover data that been in use for the past 2 months or 3 months. This is the recovery point of recovery. But the recovery time also talks about timing. How soon, within how many minutes, or within how many hours. Time objective of every recovery activity. So that these are basically the eight questions we are dealing with. So remember, if you want the 75 practice questions for free. I have 75 practice questions given out for free, which covers all the domains of the highest use certified in cybersecurity. You can get it for free by just putting a comment in the comment section. Just type success blueprint. I'll send you a link where you can sign up to get the recovery, the 75 past questions, 75 practice questions that is very useful for you, contains all the five domains, and you get it for free. If you enjoyed or this has helped you in any way, please like and subscribe to this channel and share this video with people that to benefit. Thank you for joining this session today.